First of all, I want to ask you about the vaccine rollout and the pledge yesterday. In principle, I don't even know what that means, but in principle, to speed up the process for those getting vaccinated aged over 50. I mean, are you buying that? Can that be achieved when confidence is so low?
Look, it's just 3 weeks ago that the Prime Minister actually ruled out mass vaccination centres. I mean, this bloke will make any announcement, say anything and do anything to cover for the complete incompetence of the vaccine rollout. I mean, last year, while 70 other contracts were signed, Australia still hadn't signed a single contract. The Prime Minister said, we're going to be first in line. And yet you find out that we were the 72nd contract. We put all our eggs into one basket because we couldn't get the other vaccines because they were asleep at the wheel. And now with the AZ blood clotting issue, we've got an absolute crisis. I mean, the Prime Minister, where are those ministers attacking the states for causing all this economic damage to Australia? Well, what's going on now is international travel, international business, international tourism, international students. They're now all on hold because of the incompetence of this Prime Minister in actually doing his one fundamental job. He's pushed quarantine off onto the states, actually federal Commonwealth responsibility. And now we're in a situation where he can't even do the one serious job that he's got to do, vaccinate the country.
Well, now, and there was a comment attributed to the PM last night saying it's a race to vaccinate the youngsters by Christmas. I thought you said it wasn't a race a few weeks ago.
Exactly. Right. This bloke will just say anything at the moment. He's almost like a rabbit in the spotlight. What announcement can I make? Okay, let's make the announcement that we've refused to make for a year about the Veterans Royal Commission, something he should have done a year ago. This bloke has a tin ear. He has to be dragged screaming and kicking if he hasn't made the announcement himself. And so you just can't take seriously the promises he's making at the moment, because you've got to have 2 doses of AZ and you've got to have them 3 months apart. The vaccination process will not be complete at the earliest before March next year, probably June. I mean, think about that. It's another 12 months before international students, another 12 months before international business travel, another 12 months before you've got any degree of tourism coming into the country. And that's your best case scenario. Alan Joyce at Qantas must be just pulling his hair out at the incompetence of this government.
Okay, still on the PM, last night he gave a speech outlining a plan of sorts to go to net zero by 2050. There is an agriculture carve-out, no new taxes. Matt Canavan's already shot it down this morning. What's your view?
Well, firstly, I have to laugh. I have sat in Canada and had these very discussions and been attacked by Scott Morrison, Tony Abbott, Malcolm Turnbull over the years. And yet now they're basically adopting the position that Labor put forward in 2010. It's 11 years later, dragged against, kicking and screaming. I mean, this bloke is just trying to line up the National Party and mug them. And Matt Canavan is onto him. He knows that Scott Morrison is going to make an announcement for net zero in 2050. And the National Party are going to get mugged on this. So Matt Canavan's calling him out.
Okay.
But fundamentally, the Libs are adopting Labor's policy from 10 years ago.
We've got 40 seconds left. I want to ask you about the European Super League. I mean, you're a Chelsea supporter. I'm a Manchester United supporter. So we've got a dog in this fight. But what's your view?
Look, greed is running amok here. This is going to be a disaster for all of the national leagues in Europe. It's going to be a disaster for fans. They're going to have to pay more to see the matches. They're going to have to pay more to watch it on pay TV. This is a disaster where greed is good is now the motto of these clubs. And that includes my own club. I'm devastated, like many fans around the world.
Yeah, it's just a huge sporting story, this one, on so many different levels. I would have thought that it was never going to happen, and I still think it might not get up this time, but it's not going to go away. They're going to have another crack at this at some point because they believe they're getting mugged off because other clubs are taking too much of their money.
Absolutely, but the consequences will be devastating for world football. I mean, imagine a World Cup where the majority of the best players in the world can't play.
Good one. Stephen Conroy, good to chat.
Good to talk.
Talk to you soon.